Whew, I'm breathing heavy. Welcome back to the Carport Garage Drag Racing. So, Austin ain't here yet. He had to do a bunch of running. So, I pushed it off this board, pushed it over that board. I took this board that was right here, put it over there, pushed the motor over to there. Now I gotta take this board, I need more boards, and put it under there. And I can swing that around and get it ready to go up in there. Actually, you know what? We're supposed to jack it up and put it on the jack stands first. Yeah. Then slide it under there, but we can get that lift in there at an angle. It don't have to be perfectly straight, so going to get the lift in there and hook it up. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and push this board under there, and then we'll get the lift, pick it up, put it real high on jack stands. Hope the jack stands hold it. And then we'll swing this motor around, push it up under there. Then we'll bring the jack back around the front, grab back hold of it and lift it up. And then we'll start lowering it down on the motor. Whew, out of breath. All right, Austin finally decided to show up. Hey. I pushed it over there. I think I showed that. And then I brought the cherry picker over, jacked it up, put the jack stands on it, set it back down. And now we're not sure if this is going to clear. So he's going to take the
well, I know it won't clear going up in there.
The housing off of it. And we're going to see if it clears the frame.
We're just going to have to go really slow. Really slow.
Yeah.
Probably shove the car over.
And then even if it does clear, I'm not sure if this is going to clear the radiator.
Well, we can manage that.
But we'll figure it out. Tube the front end.
Like to.
All right, we slid the motor under there. It wasn't high enough to clear the what's that called again? The
alternator.
Air. Yeah, the air dam. Air dam. Was hitting the alternator because he's got that alternator sticks way up there. So we got it in there as far as we could, and then we slid the cherry picker back in there.
The what?
Cherry picker. Cherry picker. We jacked it up and we slide it on back. Now we're gonna yank the jack stands out from under it and lower it down. Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah. So here's the goal. That's a bolt hole. Right behind it is a dowel pin hole. And the trick is to line both these dowel pins up close enough that it'll go up in that hole. That hole right there. The one right behind, that's a bolt hole, and then right behind it. You get those lined up just enough where this pointy end to go in that hole, and you set it down, it'll line itself up. You got to do it on both sides. And sometimes when you set the body down, it'll be crooked, and usually it helps when it does that. So you can line one side up, and then you can move this side back and forth until it gets lined up, because if it comes down even, it's kind of hard to line it up moving both sides at the same time, because if you move this side over here wants to move too. So yeah, hopefully it comes down a little crooked for us. I think it's going to. And then we just line them dowel pins up. But he left his
I didn't do it.
sway bar. We took the front sway bars out of these cars. He left his
We didn't do that.
somebody did.
No, it wasn't us.
But anyway, that'll cause a wreck, so they get tied in your steering. We're gonna cut that out of there. And then someone left the sway bar brackets up in there too. I'd take those out because that's probably about, I don't know, 5 pounds. Weight loss.
They just bolt out, don't they?
No weight loss for me, but gotta put the cars on weight loss, see? Oh, one of these days I need to go on a diet for show. But anyway,
Frig, Marshall.
once he cuts that out of there. Well, look, you didn't even need to cut it. The bolt was off the top. I thought the bolt was still on the top of it. Man, it's wonder that didn't just fall out. Well,
Got the grinder up for
that
nothing.
saved his time. All right. Once he puts that grinder up, we're going to start lowering her down. And you want to look and watch and look. Because when I set that LT1 down, I was doing it by myself. The back firewall hit the oil pressure sensor, and it had a massive oil leak. So you just got to watch everything. Your shifter cable in the back, want to make sure that don't get caught on nothing coming down. Yeah, just try to come down, and you got to watch your front brake lines too. You got to move those around a little bit. But here we go. So I'll just take the sway bar mounts off. Hey, it just gives us more room, plus you don't have sway bar in here anyway. Look at that. That's got leads on there, keeping that from going all the way down there on my light. That could be shocking. Oh, I just wanted to use that line. Shocking. Yeah, everything looks to be, I don't know if it's clear. We've got a ways to go down. The way we had the chain, it was going to hit the turbo, but maybe we'll have enough room, maybe we won't. We'll see. I mean, we still got to go. Let's see where we're at here. We still got to go down quite a bit though, but we'll see. And then the radiator clearance, I don't know. Motor does have to go back. I think it's going to be all right. We'll see. I'm being pessimistic and Austin's being optimistic. I think that's how it goes. I don't like putting the front cover and the rear cover on with the oil pan already on and tightened down. I hope that don't leak. Hey, but he gets in a hurry, man. I just wanted to run.
It ain't that I got in a hurry, I just didn't know what I was doing.
We'll
Supposed to be teaching me, but
we'll see. I told you 10 times.
You did not.
We need to put the front and rear cover on first.
You said, it's probably on video. You said, no, it don't matter. Really.
The gasket don't come in until I want to get it almost together. If we get the oil pan down, we can set it on the K-member. That's what you said.
I know, but you said it don't matter.
See what I'm doing with guys. We're just funning with each other. But yeah, we're getting her. All right, I think the radiator is going to clear, but he's going to have to cut this out like I did mine.
Just to get it back in.
Just to get it back in there.
Unless you went from the bottom, you might be able to,
But
turbo should have plenty of room.
We might have enough room over here too. Look at that. Don't you love when a plan comes together?
See, Miss Nancy Downey over here.
The fun part's going to be getting that on there in that tight space.
We should quit being a down all the time.
See how that's going to work.
Might not. Line horse might be an issue.
I don't know how you're going to do that.
Bottom. I can't get up to it. Yeah, I might be able to.
That's going to be the fun part. That ain't going to work either because it's going to hit the frame for sure down there.
I thought I might be able to wiggle it by. No.
Ain't no way.
Let's go back up top.
You might have to take that whole thing apart just to get it back on there.
Let me take this loose.
I don't know, guys. To be continued. We had a lot of trouble because our jack quit working on us once you got pressure on it. But look at that. He sure did wiggle that thing in there. And it's going to fit just about right. He had to take the hose off and put the heater hoses over here. And then stuck the snout down there. And it was hitting over here, but carefully wiggled it in there. And it's in there. And the battery's relocated in the trunk, so. And his radiator, it's a shorter radiator, so it don't come all the way, it only comes over to about right here. So that's going to be close too, but we'll see.
Everybody tell him to quit being a downer on comments.
Debbie Downer, Marshall. Marshall's Debbie Downer.
Yeah, Marshall is Debbie Downer. That's all I hear.
Prepare yourself for the worst.
Then you always get the worst.
Guys, look here, it's actually working out. Alright, now we're just putting the wiring harness on. Usually what I do, because once the motor's in the car, the knock sensor wire, the cam sensor wire, the oil pressure sensor wire, and them ground wires that go on the back of the head over there. They are not fun to get on when the motor's in the car. So usually what I do is unhook these harnesses here, unhook the harnesses under the passenger side dash, and pull the computer out and set it on top of the motor. And then I do all the wiring before I even put the motor in. But we're doing things the hard way. Austin's tall and skinny. He can reach back in there better than I can. We got it on there before. He's trying to put the crank sensor wire on with the starter on. I thought he'd take the starter off, but he's like, I refuse. It's 2 bolts. It's 2 bolts.
Yeah,
But
I can
we
only
might
get
get
one
her
hand up in here, Marshall.
pretty soon. All right, I put this strut tower in. Put the master cylinder back on. Put the brake lines in, except for this one. It broke. The rear K-member bolt broke too, but I already drilled it out, so we just got drilled out with the tap size drill and retap it. Unfortunately, Austin got all the wiring harness done, and then we got that strut tower over there. And we're gonna have to cut this to be able to put the radiator in. But I mean, we can start it, at least hear it run for a second. I think that's what we're gonna do. And we did put an oil filter on it before we slid it under there. I think it's hard to get in there. So the battery went dead. We got tons of grease on the bearings. Plus, before we put it in, we did take that bolt out right down there by the oil pump, and we put about a quart of oil through it. But he's also going to leave the fuel pump off and turn it over, I don't know, 20 seconds at a time for, I don't know, 5 or 6 times, and then we'll turn the fuel pump on and see what it do.
Told you it wasn't charging. Turn it on.
Sounds like you don't got a good connection somewhere.
Well, the battery's just kind of good for a second. It might not be getting good contact.
It says 12.7, 12.6. Something's not getting good contact. Honestly, that starter wire on the small one like that, the big starter wire, that's not a good idea.
Try starting it now.
If you want to.
What do you think?
Go ahead.
Let me watch it in here.
Just keep an eye on that oil pressure gauge. It'll take a second for it to come up, but you didn't turn the fuel pump on. Well, now we got no fuel pump.
It was working. Wasn't it?
It was working a while ago. It's fighting us. Was wondering why the starter wasn't engaging earlier, and he had the shifter in gear on these cars.
Here's
won't.
why I unhooked it earlier and didn't hook it back up.
And now he's unhooked the fuel pump and forgot to hook it back up. But we cranked it over a little bit. I think we'll try to start it now. All right, let's try it again.
put the other strut tower on. We have to put the front tires on. We have to put the transmission cross member, transmission linkage, the drive shaft. And then we're going to have to cut out around the radiator to get the radiator to go straight down. And then we'll put some coolant in it and we'll get some drive videos.